Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and once again, it is Sunday, and that means it's time for the Texas Gun Vault Poll Question of the Week, a weekly vlog that I put out where I ask you all as my viewers and subscribers about something that deals with guns, the gun community, gun culture, gun news, or maybe even something fun like EDC or some type of hypothetical question that I want to get your thoughts and opinions on. So this week's question is one of those hypothetical questions, and it has to deal with rifles, shotguns, pistols, or something else that if you could only own one, which one would you choose? And preferably tell me why in the comment section below. Now, before I get into this, I want to fully admit that I didn't think this one out. Because I used the word dystopian in the question, I was already assuming that you guys knew I was talking about like a zombie apocalypse end of the world scenario, and not just that life is going on as normal and you can only choose one of these. So I have to kind of adjust my responses here. I need to do a better job sometimes of explaining what I mean in the question, but we're going to roll with it this week because I think the responses are actually quite interesting. So with that said, let's dive right into this week's poll question. Many YouTube channels I follow often do videos with topics like top 5 or if you could only have one. I thought I would join in and ask you a hypothetical dystopian question this week. I think the answer to this question will be based on your situation, your ballistic needs, and the practicality of each type of firearm. If you could have only one type of firearm, which would you pick and why? A handgun, pistol or revolver, rifle, shotgun, or something else completely? So as I said, asking this question was supposed to be fun, one of those hypothetical zombie apocalypse questions to see what you guys would think in some type of end-world scenario would be the most effective type of firearm to have. But after reading all of the comments and seeing what you guys had to say, you guys took it as I was asking if you could only own one and the world doesn't change, which would you prefer? And that actually changed my opinion, because when I read it the way you guys did, I would pick something completely different. I thought in the dystopian end of the world scenario with zombies or the world in chaos, I would pick a shotgun. And yes, I am not the biggest shotgun shooter. You guys know I have a few shotguns, but I don't really feature them here on the channel. Some of that is I just can't film shotgun footage that often. But if the world stays the same, my choice would be very different. But let's go through each one of these responses and see what you all have to say. With over 1,100 votes this week, we have handgun, best choice for personal defense and concealment, 46%. Rifle, best choice ballistically, 39%. Shotgun, most versatile for hunting and survival scenarios, 11%. Bow, crossbow, knife, or my bare hands, discreet and quiet, 2%. And something else, explain in the comments, 3%. So when I read the question, as obviously many of you took the question, I totally understand why so many people today would choose a handgun or a pistol. You know, this I think would be very different if I would have asked it 50 years ago. For some reason, pistols have gone through this evolution from the Old West to the 20th century to modern day America, where a lot of people looked at pistols or revolvers, depending on what your style and preference are, as kind of dirty weapons. It's the kind of tools that assassins and scoundrels used. I mean, there's a reason why that pistols and revolvers originally were included in the original draft language of the 1934 National Firearms Act. People just didn't have a high respect or regard for them in general. Everyone thought the rifle was the most important tool that you could have as a firearm. In fact, many people say the handgun is what you use to get to your rifle. And I guess that's kind of like in a military war scenario. So a lot of people today, of course, with the concealed carry market the way it is, and so many people in this country being able to get concealed carry licenses and living in very tightly populated areas, obviously the handgun would be the most important. You can defend your house with it, you can carry it concealed, you can carry it openly, and in the right scenario, you can use it for hunting, especially if it's a powerful handgun. But my choice would be different. But let's break down each one of these and I'll tell you guys what I personally think. We have handgun, best choice for personal defense and concealment. And I think for practicality purposes, for most gun owners, I did expect this to win, as I said, if I read it the way that most people read the intent of my question. And so with that said, the handgun I think gives most people the most options. People that are not gun geeks like myself don't think about, I don't want to say end of the world scenarios, but what if scenarios, having to defend or survive in some type of scenario where chaos runs through the streets. But the handgun is by far the most practical choice, and I understand why people chose it. But as I said, in the military, the handgun is used to get to your rifle, which is our next thing. Rifle, best choice ballistically. Now, personally, this is the one that I would have voted for. If I could only own one type of firearm, the rifle is the way to go. Mainly because you have so many options when it comes to rifles. Today we have very short, compact rifles. We have longer rifles. I didn't say you could only own one rifle or one handgun, simply one type. And I think the rifle, although you do have the detriment of it typically being a longer gun, you do have the ballistic advantage in being able to reach out and touch something if you have to. It's way more accurate than a handgun, but you can also have rifles chambered in handgun cartridges. So you have this wide variety of things that you can do with a rifle that you can't do with a pistol, and it's more effective ballistically. Then we have shotgun, most versatile for hunting and survival scenarios. Now, when it came to my dystopian framing of this question, I actually thought this one would get a lot more hits. Even though, as I said, a lot of people misunderstood the question I was asking, only the shotgun getting 11%, and you can only own one gun. I know there's a lot of people out there that don't necessarily live in urban areas or around big cities, where the shotgun is probably the better defensive tool. When you're out on land by yourself, you can do so much with a shotgun. In fact, that's what I think its strength is. You could have slugs, birdshot, buckshot. There's even other types of ammunition that you can put in it. I don't know, what is it called? The dragon's breath, if that's the way that you want to go. There's so many things. Even beanbag rounds, even less than lethal rounds can go into a pump shotgun. There's so many things that you can do with it. It is such a versatile firearm. And for it only get 11%, I was really kind of surprised. Maybe I need to do some more shotgun content here at the Texas Gun Vault because the shotgun does need a little bit more love. Then we have bow, crossbow, knife, or my bare hands. Discreet and quiet. Now, obviously, I added this one in here because I was asking about the zombie apocalypse or end of the world scenarios. And some people really like the idea of a weapon that is not going to be very loud and you have ammunition that you can reuse. Crossbows and bows, well, you can make your own arrows and you can reuse the ones that you use. So that is a huge advantage to that. They're very quiet, and some of these other options like knives or batons or bats or something else, they can be very effective tools for self-defense if you train with them. And I thought there was going to be a lot of alphas out there that were going to go this route, wanting to be the big bad guy. I guess not bad guy in the sense of wanting to do harm, but they're just the badass. Sorry for cursing there a little bit, but I guess my channel is demonetized, so who cares? Then we have something else explained in the comments. And for the most part, I think the people that responded to this just kind of broke down what they thought about each category and didn't necessarily pick anything specific. So that's my thoughts on all these. So let's see what you guys have to say with the top rated comments of this week. And with our top rated comment of the week, we have Gun Psych G32, who says, "Wow, way less people have chosen shotgun than I thought they would so far." And that was 6 days ago when the poll pretty much came out. And I kind of echoed his sentiments. I really thought the shotgun was going to get a lot more love. I really think the shotgun was probably the American gun for probably over 150 years, really before center fire pistol and rifle ammunition became more popular. Look at the Old West. The shotgun was the way to go. And I know that when it comes to old guns that many families have, most of the time, they're shotguns. And there's always all those myths about using a shotgun and racking the shotgun when it comes to home defense and scaring people away, all that kind of stuff. Everyone thinks of the shotgun. It just didn't get a lot of love. But I know the gun world is changing. Then we have Armored Ghost, who says, the rifle is overall the most capable, but the handgun is what you'd carry on you in most peaceful society. And that's what I meant, that people misunderstood what I was asking. And that's totally my fault, but I still like the results and how you guys responded. Of course, in a peaceful society, a nice handgun is probably the most effective tool. But society may not always be peaceful. If we look at history, we know we have times of peace and war. Society can break down. It's one of the big fears that I have. And it doesn't matter what causes it. I always feel like society is held together by a very thin thread. And if that breaks down, well, I don't want a handgun anymore. I'd rather have a rifle. I think I can do more handgun stuff with a rifle, like a pistol caliber carbine, than I can rifle stuff with a handgun. And that's why I would have picked rifle, as I said. Next up, we have Mr. Colt 45, who said, I'd carry my Colt 1911 Gold Cup full size. I have some 250 grain plus P cast lead for larger game, jacketed hollow point for two-legged critters, and plenty of spare mags and carry options. Concealment in a grid down scenario will reign supreme in my opinion. And you can't go wrong with a Colt 1911 and 45. What's that joke they always say? Why do you carry a 45? Because they don't make a 46. Now, personally, I actually think 9mm is a better choice, but I understand why so many people love the 45. But regardless of what you think about the venerable 1911, when it comes to having to be in a gunfight, well, I'd much rather have a rifle. A very weak powered rifle is going to be more effective than a 1911. And as I said, I'm just thinking about the long game and what's going to be the most effective tool for me, but I can respect Mr. Colt 45. That's probably why I picked the 1911. Then we have eKill13, who says SBR or AR pistol. It would combine the concealability to an extent with the benefits of a rifle to an extent. I'd go something like a 10-inch barrel 300 blackout. And he's kind of echoing what I would say. I think having just a rifle that can be very short and chamber in a very effective cartridge for urban warfare or urban combat or home defense is the way to go. You get the superior ballistics, but in a gun that if you have to change out a couple things, you can do a lot with, from surviving by taking down deer or having to reach out a long distance. And then finally we have JareDog3, who says, I had to go with handguns since I live in a city and would be surrounded by LAPD or sniped in moments if I tried to walk around with a long gun. If I lived in the country, I'd go AR because that's way cooler. But whichever one I chose, I would bring the 22 long rifle conversion kit that I have for them. That gives me two options in one firearm. Love the questions each week. Well, thank you. I am so glad that some people enjoy this. I know these questions of the week don't get the biggest views, but I enjoy making them because I enjoy interacting with my audience more than anything else. But to get what you said about the 22 conversion kits, I totally get it. But remember, my question didn't say you could only own one rifle, but having those conversion kits is awesome. And that's one of the things about rifles. I actually think you have more ballistic choices when it comes to rifles, from 22 long rifle to pistol calibers to rifle calibers that are intermediate power, all the way up to the big bore full power cartridges. You have so much that you can do with a rifle that you can't do with a handgun. And those ballistic advantages go away, of course, with a shotgun. You can't reach out as far, but for urban warfare or combat or home defense, I still think the shotgun should have gotten more love. So there you go. That is the Texas Gun Vault poll question of the week. It didn't go the way I thought it would because I wasn't good at explaining the question, but the results, I think, were very insightful as they are. So if you would like to participate in next week's poll, please go to the community tab of my YouTube channel. I will link to it in the comment section below. Go over there and vote, comment, and like other people's comments so we can get the top rated comment of the week. I really enjoy making these. I enjoy seeing what you guys have to say. And I want to thank all of my sponsors as always, like Brownworks Incorporated. I will put a link to them in my comment section and in my description section. Please go check them out. He always provides a lot of ammunition for my range reports. It means so much to me to have a sponsor like him. And of course, all of my Patreons. You guys know I've been demonetized and their support means so much to me so I can keep this content up. It is so astounding that people enjoy what I have to say and what I do here, that they give me just a little bit every single month to help me offset some of the costs of the production. So thank you so much, Patreons. You mean so much to me. So let me know if you have any questions in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching.